Kruse. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also follow me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse. I really appreciate it. Hello, Maureen. How are you?
I'm great. Nice to see you again, Tori.
It's great to see you too. And I have to tell all of the listeners that this is the second time we've done this because
Yes.
technology doesn't always work out. So find yourself a mentor, ladies, who will do this round two, because the first time we did this, my sound was completely muted. Maureen had a phenomenal interview and I was muted the entire time. So here we are, round two, and we're going to have some fun now.
We are. We're going to have a great time, and you look great, and I'm excited to talk to you again.
Thanks. I'm always excited to talk to you too. So Maureen, tell us a little bit about what you do as far as you're the director of Pageants Northwest. You're also the co-producer of the Global Beauty Awards, and you do so much more. So why don't you explain to our listeners what it is that you do on a daily basis?
What I do on a daily basis, no 2 days are ever the same, by the way. I produce the state pageant qualifier to Miss USA and Miss Teen USA in the Northwest, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington. Plus, I am the co-founder of the Global Beauty Awards show, where we produce an international award show that celebrates all pageant systems. And we're all together in one room, celebrating each other's accomplishments, and a confidence building workshop, and also a busy mom and wife. You can see my husband's photo, our wedding photo right there. So just really blessed and really busy, and just really grateful for everything.
Well, you and your husband David do a phenomenal job of juggling everything, and I've had the honor of going to the Global Beauty Awards the past couple of years, and you two both put on a phenomenal show, you and your team. And it's been a true honor to be a part of just your friendship, having your friendship and mentorship as well.
I'm so glad you've attended twice, so you've seen the growth. And what's great is I tell people it's like camp. It's seriously pageant camp because you see everybody. And what's great is we're brought together is because we're celebrating each other. It doesn't matter if you are part of the USA system or America system or Universe or IJM. It doesn't matter. What does matter is that you are part of the pageant community and you're all about celebrating other people.
Absolutely. So as a girl who wants to potentially compete at the state level, what do you recommend to them? What do you look for from a director standpoint?
I want somebody to understand that when she does this experience, she needs to be all in. So if you're somebody who's wavering back and forth, like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Then that is what your experience is going to be like. You're always going to be on shaky grounds. But if you tell yourself, you know what, I'm committed to be the most confident self. I'm committed to working on my interview skills. I'm committed to making new friends. Then you're going to have a much more enjoyable experience. So I tell these potential contestants, you've got to go all in. You've got to marry your potential and not date your potential.
That's good. That's great advice. And so is there one mold fits all for a title holder?
So there's not one mold because every title holder is different, but I do tell the title holders, whoever's crowned, that if you come during your reign with humility and grace and gratefulness and just seizing every opportunity, you're going to have, again, a much more enjoyable year because you only get 1 year. And when all of these opportunities come up, take it, because that opportunity will lead to another set of contacts and another set of experiences. Be the best brand ambassador. Be somebody so memorable that when your reign is over, people are like, oh, I want to contact that person. She was such a great title holder. I want to work with her. I want to collaborate with her. So just have a positive attitude. Every experience you're doing, you're almost like interviewing for that next job or that next opportunity. And you know this, Tori, you want to work with people that you like.
Yes.
Have fun with. So have fun during this experience.
Absolutely. And it's such a great experience too, because it does become a sisterhood. Everybody says that, but it's so true. And I've had the pleasure of interviewing some of my Miss USA sisters, even for my YouTube channel. So it is a sisterhood, and it's a great time, definitely, to all collaborate and be around like-minded women.
Yes, I saw you at Miss USA, and I noticed that your class was so tight. Danny Walker was there. You were there to support Sarah Rose Summers. It's great that you all are still friends even beyond the crown. And I tell ladies, if you don't have a friend that you've met during this experience, then you're doing this wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You are going about this mind frame or this journey the wrong way. You should have your next set of bridesmaid or your maid of honor, or you should be attending weddings, baby showers, because it's about the experience, and as you said, the sisterhood, the friendship. So if you embrace it that way, you're going to have, again, such a great experience.
Absolutely. So Maureen, when it comes to pageant time, of course, there are many different expenses, as you know. What would you recommend to girls that are competing that would maybe like to go out for sponsorships? How would they acquire a sponsorship?
So what I would do when you seek out sponsors, they're actually sponsoring you, not so much the pageant. So if somebody really believes in you because you're professional, you're on time, you are resourceful, they are sponsoring you, the name brand, you. That's why you need to be treating yourself as a brand name, as a businesswoman. And when you seek a sponsor, it helps if you have a relationship with that person. It's a much better and easier ask than randomly calling somebody who you don't have a rapport with, because that person's going to go, whoa, I don't know anything about you, about what you're doing. But if you go to somebody who believes in you and say, hey, here are the reasons why I'm competing, and here's why I would need your support, whether it's your time, your resources, or a donation, and here's how it would help me during this journey. You have to be really specific on your ask and the why behind it. And again, if you are professional, you show up on time, you're grateful, you write your handwritten thank you cards afterwards, people are going to remember you, and people will likely sponsor you. And also remember, it's a numbers game. You're not going to always get a yes with each person that you do ask, okay? So you got to really refine that pitch, and don't be discouraged when somebody says no. It might be no right now during that season in that person's life. It doesn't mean no forever. So look at it as, you know what, I'm going to try my very best seeking opportunities, and if I get a no, I'm not going to take it personally. It's not about me so much, but I'm going to learn from this experience.
Yes, absolutely. And I think you made a really good point in there that I want to reiterate is handwritten thank you notes. Yeah. I remember I did that, and it made such a big difference. And it's something we don't even think about almost anymore because of emails and texting and just technology in general. But handwritten thank you notes do go a long way. So that was an excellent point.
Yes. And when I also say a numbers game, I mean, like, if you only asked 2 people and both said no, and then you're so discouraged and you're going to go about it like, oh, I'm never going to seek sponsors again. That's just 2 no's. Always tell yourself, I'm just one closer to a yes. And I'm going to share a story with you. When I wrote my book, It Takes Moxie, I received more than 100 rejection letters from literary agents, but I never let that get in the way of me finding that end goal, or of me getting closer to that end goal. So I eventually did find an agent who was able to sell my book. But again, don't be discouraged every time you hear a no. And I think with young people, that's my big takeaway for you all is that's okay. That's just a no right now, but it doesn't mean no forever.
Yes. Yes. I couldn't agree more. And so when it comes to pageantry, I know sometimes we've had doubts. I know when I was younger, I did have doubts like, should I compete in Miss yet? Or should I stay in teen? Because I was at 19, so I could go either way. Is there a certain age that you think, oh my gosh, maybe 14 is too young for teen, or 27 is too old for Miss to win? Is there a certain sweet spot there, so to say, for a winner?
About maturity, because it's not so much about the age. last year, our Miss Montana Teen USA pageant, we had a 14-year-old who was first runner-up. So it's not about the age, it's about maturity. And then some parents are like, well, my daughter's a little too young to compete in the pageant at 14. And I say, your daughter's gonna walk away with some sort of experience. Now, Tori, you've competed multiple times, and I know with every single time you did compete, you learned something new, right? With each experience.
Absolutely.
So that's how you have to kind of go about this journey, is every time you do something, you're gonna learn something, but you have to be open to being a student. I'm a firm believer that if you come with the attitude about being a student for life, you're gonna be much more open to receiving information, receiving criticism, or constructive criticism, that is, and just open to learning and growing. Because I know as a director, I've been doing this now for 7 years, and every year is different, and I learn every single year. So no 2 years are ever the same.
Yes. So as a director, you of course work a lot with the Miss Universe organization. And what do you think they look for in a title holder?
So I think with the Miss Universe organization, I think the organization as a whole looks for someone who is a girl boss. And I say the word girl boss, somebody who's confident, somebody who doesn't seek approval from others, someone who knows that this is just 1 year of her life, and to always look 5 years ahead and 10 years ahead, actually have somebody with an action plan, someone who speaks well, because as Miss USA or Miss Universe, you're going to be in front of the media a lot. Somebody adaptable. And I say the word adaptable because you might be scheduled to do one meeting one day, but then all of a sudden that meeting gets canceled, but then you have to go somewhere else. You have to be fluid. If you're somebody who needs to know every second what you're doing, I think you're gonna not like your year, because things come up. You just have to be adaptable. You have to enjoy people. You have to enjoy being in front of the public and getting your photos taken, or someone asking you for an autograph. You just have to also understand there's no such thing as a personal life anymore. What happens in your personal life becomes public. Just somebody who enjoys being a brand ambassador, somebody who just enjoys going out and being the best person every single day, because you're constantly doing activities. So that is what I think you always looking for. And as you know, when you—
Is that all?
Yes, that's just a short list. Yes. And as you know, Tori, when you compete, I mean, there's so many serious girl bosses around you.
Oh, everywhere. All of us, all 51 of us at Miss USA had so much in common, and we all were ambitious, driven people. I think once you get to that level, you definitely have to be, because it takes persistence to get there, especially for me after competing 6 years.
And you have to also remember, every year you competed, there were thousands of women competing for this job, and only 50 representing each state plus the District of Columbia. That's it. That's a very competitive field. And in your class, or even just any class, you have attorneys, you have doctors, you have nurses, you have entrepreneurs, you have women who are so confident going into a room. It's like, how do you choose?
I know. And that leads me to my next question is, how do you choose the judges to select these state title holders?
So our judges might be our sponsors. It might be somebody in the entertainment field. It might be someone who is actually in the contestants industry. So if someone's an entrepreneur, we're probably going to invite a judge who's an entrepreneur, so in hopes that these contestants can network with that judge down the road. So we have a wide variety of judges. We even have some people in the industry. When I say in the industry, somebody who is a director, or someone who actually is a pageant coach. But we don't want one industry to be the entire set of judges, because you don't have diversity. This, we're going to have quite a bit of our sponsors be judges. And the reason why I chose our sponsors is because These title holders will be working with our sponsors. I want the sponsors to have a say on who the winner is, because you're going to be working with that person. That young lady is going to be endorsing that sponsor. And I just want the relationship to be great from the start.
What would you recommend to any of the contestants that are going into competing this next year and they're a little bit fearful of public speaking or maybe an interview? What would you recommend to them to practice that so they get comfortable with it by the time pageant comes around?
I read somewhere that people would rather die than actually speak in public.
Oh gosh.
Die than speak in public. So you know that serious anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
What I would tell that contestant is be present, meaning if you are so focused on, gosh, will they like me, rather than let me give my all to the audience. It's so different. The energy is different. When you are constantly asking yourself, gosh, will Tori like me, or will Tori's listeners and viewers like me, or will the judges like me? It's all about seeking approval of others.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come at it this way, going, I'm going to give my all. I'm going to give every information that I know. I'm going to be present. I'm going to share willingly. It's a much better experience, and it's a much better set of expectations for yourself, because all you're doing is sharing. You're just pouring out your heart. You're being present, as opposed to, will that person like me? And if you're present, you don't have time to be anxious about what's my next question or what's going to be my next move. If you're present, you're actually really in the moment.
Yes. And I actually, to add on to that, I always like to say that you're going to sit down with coffee with your mom or dad's best friend, and you're just having a conversation.
And that's what it is. And you know more about yourself than those judges. And what oftentimes people don't realize, these judges are scared.
They're just as nervous. They have a big job.
When I say they're scared, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm about to change someone's life. That is a huge undertaking. So I want to make sure I choose the right person. And they're human. That they're nervous and they want to do a good job. So if they're working on doing the best job they can, and you work on doing the best job you can, then it will all be fine.
So Maureen, what would you say to returning contestants that have maybe competed for many years in a row? If they're just struggling to get better and better every single year, what do you think they could do just slightly different to take them a step ahead this next year?
So here's what I learned from some returners. They tell me they don't even watch their pageant videos. And I'm in shock, because if you are a professional athlete, you actually watch your games, because you take a look at what you're doing. Is your form correct? Is there anything that you can learn, from watching the game? So I'm surprised that when contestants come back year after year and they've actually never seen themselves on stage, I tell them, you need to watch yourself, because you might be walking on stage with a hunchback, or you might be playing with your hair and you don't realize that you're doing that. Or you might actually not even making eye contact or looking at the ceiling while you're performing. Those little things that you can change make such a difference. So the first thing I would do is watch yourself, because you are going to be your biggest critic. And then be open to getting coaching. And when I say that, you can't do the same thing over and over and expect to get a different result. It's called insanity. But if you do something slightly different, then hopefully the result will be different. Now, on that same token, when you have a different set of judges every single year, so the outcome is going to be different. So that is not within your control at all. But if you go in going, I'm going to be my very best, I am going to work on my filler words, maybe it's interview, and you say and you know and like a lot, and you want to change that, then you're going to go in that you're saying, I'm going to work on interview. Maybe it's fitness. Maybe you're the type of person who does not train until a month prior to the competition. And to me, why are you training a month before? You have to seek this opportunity as though you are an Olympic athlete. Athletes train year round. So you have to be training year round. You can't train a month and wing it. Now, for some gals, I will say that has worked for them. But for the majority of the women, it doesn't work. So when you competed, Tori, you came back, I'm sure you changed something every single time, right?
I did, yes. And I made my health a lifestyle.
Yes.
It's the number one thing.
Yeah, aside from fitness or aside from interview, it could also be styling, right? So if you're open, again, to receiving feedback from people that you trust who also know what they're talking about, and the reason why I'm saying that is you don't want to just ask your best friend or your mother, because your mother's going to say you're perfect, right? There's anything wrong, sweetie, you're great. But you need to get feedback from people that you truly trust and go, what am I doing that could make an improvement or make such a difference for next time around? Your paperwork. Some gals are notorious for being late. Why don't you go about this being on time with your paperwork, with your photos? Just be on time with everything and treat it as though, you know what, I'm going to be so on top of it this year. And I'm going to seek every single resource out there. Give it your all. And that's why when I say giving it your all, I'm finding that a lot of returners, and this is their last year of eligibility, because I asked them, okay, what made it different this time versus in years past? And they tell me, every single one of them, I gave it my all, Maureen. I left no stone unturned. And that's how you have to seek it. You've got to be like, have I done everything I possibly could?
Yes, definitely. So if there are any ladies out there that are wanting to get involved in pageantry and they're in the Northwest states, they see what an amazing director they would have, how could they sign up for one of your states?
So they can go to either MissIdahoUSA.com, MissMontanaUSA.com, MissOregonUSA.com, MissWashingtonUSA.com. That person would fill out an application. And here's something I do, Tori. I interview every single applicant.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, and the reason why I interview, because I want to get to know that person. I want to get to know what her weaknesses are and how this pageant experience will actually help that person. And if somebody tells me that they're perfect, I actually will tell them this is not the best for you, because I've actually had that. I've had some women tell me I don't have any weaknesses. I'm perfect. And I'm thinking, okay, this person will be highly disappointed. So maybe this is not a good fit, because there's always something that we can improve on.
Oh, yes.
Right? And if you're absolutely perfect, and if
maybe they need to compete.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Maybe they need to compete.
Well, I've had
find out.
So I've had people who've been absolutely perfect compete, and when they don't win, they throw a temper tantrum. So that's what I've learned, is because they've never seen themselves outside of the bubble that they've created.
Yes.
And I think if you have, again, this humility, I love that word, humility, you understand, okay, here are things that I can work on, you're just going to be a better title holder than somebody who's like, I am perfect, I don't need coaching, I don't need anybody. It's really hard to work with a person like that. And the reason why I also like to interview each contestant, because I'm thinking, gosh, if that person is a title holder, this is who I'm working with. So I want to start that relationship very early on.
That's so great that you do that, because I don't know if many directors do that or not, but I was never interviewed prior to being accepted into the state pageant. So I think that's something great that you're doing, because you made a lot of great points there too.
Yeah, so if they tell me they're perfect and they love to party every single night, that is a major red flag, okay? You will not be invited to compete. So I've had some other responses. I've had, hey, is there a recurring criminal record? Is that something I should be concerned about? That's another red flag, yes. Okay? So I want to get to know this person. And the common theme that I hear from potential contestants why they're competing in the pageant is to not only work on their confidence, but also just being the best version of themselves. They look at other women and they learn that these women have pageant experience, and they go, gosh, I want to do what that person is doing. And to any young women out there, this is such a precious season in your life where you're not married, you don't have kids, and oftentimes you probably don't have a mortgage. So you can really just focus on yourself.
Yes.
That is a time that you should actually be doing, is focusing on yourself, because if you can focus on yourself, it is setting such a great foundation for the future.
Yes, that's so good. And also, you are the co-founder of the Global Beauty Awards and the Believe Beauty Brand Expo. So if women would like to get involved in that, it's an amazing event. How could they do that?
So the Global Beauty Awards is an annual event, and next year is going to be on March 14th, 2020 in the greater Seattle Bellevue area. And it's going to be bigger and better, and it's a weekend where you're going to feel so uplifted. Pageants sometimes don't get the best spotlight in the media. That weekend, we're going to spotlight every single pageant system out there. And earlier in the day, we have our 5th annual, this coming March will be our 5th annual Beauty Brand Believe Expo. It's a confidence building workshop. Again, if we can arm people with confidence, whatever season they are in their lives, whether they're preteen, teen, their 20s, 30s, 40s, because we have women from all different age groups who attend this conference. But if we can just remind them that they can do anything they set their mind to, they have all the right ingredients to be the best version of themselves, then we see them just take off and fly. And sometimes you just need to be reminded that you are capable of anything you set your mind to. So we have the Beauty Brand Believe Expo earlier in the day, and then the Global Beauty Awards show. But you can find both information on the website, theglobalbeautyawards.com and beautybrandbelieveexpo.com.
And make sure to find them on Instagram.
Yes, and actually it's beautybrandbelieve.com. Yes. So many websites.
I mixed around the 3 words too, so it's okay.
Okay.
Well, Maureen, it's been such a pleasure talking to you as always. Thank you for being such an incredible mentor, and especially for doing this round 2. And I adore you and David and everything that you're doing to empower young women. So thank you so much for your time.
Anything for you, Tori. And what's wonderful about you, you're doing this amazing platform to, one, motivate people, because I think there needs to be more positivity in this world. And imagine if we all focus on the great things people are doing versus the bad things, we can change this world together.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode just as much as I did. Please put your comments below, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, follow me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse. Until next time, be unstoppable.